quite how it went. What I had said was, is there a moment to give comments, because my dear sisters who will join me now had asked if they were going to have an opportunity. You did. If they were going to have an opportunity to say what we had said about Mama.
You just have to promise us that you're going to tell us something you did that she doesn't know about to this day. I mean, that Jesus wouldn't mind.
I'm going to tell you this, and because this is a room full of intercessors, you all know that not much get by Mama anyway. I will tell you this, one time I was in high school, and I had snuck, well, she told me I could go on a date, and I had gone on a date, and I was on the beach, so I had gone, to the movies. And I was at the drive-in, and we were sitting in the front seat, and I mean, my hands were sweating because we had told Mama we were going somewhere else, and I'm sitting at the drive-in right by the swap shop, and I'm sitting, and I heard this voice. This is no lie, this is a true story. I heard this voice, and I remember looking, and Mama walked right in front of the car, and the white van was parked 2 spaces down. She and my dad were at the drive-in. And I was like, oh my God, he told. And so I left. So as a believer, I never told her that. So see, But I was asking because we don't get an opportunity to acknowledge our mother publicly often. You guys get to pray with her each morning. And one of the things that Mom and Dad taught us is how to live right, and the greater challenge of being, eloquent with words and being able to articulate. Is it 1 Corinthians 13? With my words, if I can speak all eloquent and smooth and all that stuff, and have not love, is in vain. And so they taught us. They were great examples in the home of how to pray. When we went to see War Room, I screamed out, "Y'all, my mama on screen." Because I saw my mom in Miss Clara. She taught us to pray and how to declare and how to take authority and how to walk out those things and have what you say. And I think that is always an example as a mother when you have children that can demonstrate those same qualities. And it doesn't mean that your children will be perfect. So if you're a person where your children aren't perfect, it doesn't necessarily mean you did something wrong. It just sometimes they didn't fully grasp, or the manifestation has not occurred. But I will tell you that Mama is a good example of that. She taught us to pray and to love and to, what else she taught us? Everything. Now she taught this one how to dress. I'm not, my sister and I, we wouldn't necessarily classify ourselves as divas, but Mommy, we are extremely proud of you. I think the strongest I've ever seen, and probably a moment of the most respect, is when my father died. I wasn't living here. You were gonna live, but I'm saying it first. I'm the oldest, so then you get to tell her. But she was there, so her perception would be different. But I wasn't here. I was living in North Carolina at the time, and I was on the phone with her because Kiki was the one that called me to say that he was gone. And I remember, my nerves were just shot. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. Like my nerves. I mean, I was so jittery. I remember going to the airport. And I paced back and forth, and I said, I can't do this, God. I can't do this. And when I got home, Mama was sitting in the room. Oh, wow. She was sitting in the room. She said, come here. You were good children, and your daddy was proud of you, and he would want you to be strong and do what he taught you. It was that speech that encouraged me to go back and get my doctorate. Because a little bit about that, I would encourage everybody to get life insurance, but Daddy didn't have life insurance. And I remember wrestling more with God about life insurance than the fact that my father had passed. It was just because the scripture says a good man will leave an inheritance sure. So I said, well, where are our millions? He gone. I knew, where's that? I did, I'm being honest. But when I was sitting there, God said, and for a rich man, this is exactly the analogy that God gave me. He said, if a rich man dies and leaves his son an inheritance and he squanders it all, what does he have? And I said, he has nothing. He said, but your daddy taught you to love me and to love people, to honor and be a person of integrity. And that is what you're passing on to your children. And so, it's true. And so my dissertation is on character education. It's called the Claire's. Get it? Claire's, C-L-A-R-E-J. Clarence John. Come on, people. The Claire's curriculum, which deals with character education, and it's molded after the character of my father, because that's what they taught us in the home. Okay, so I'm gonna pass the line.
Well, I just took the mic because I don't usually say much, but this one goes on and on, so I just wanted to say that. So I'm the youngest of the bunch, and so I've been very, very blessed and very proud to wear my mom's name. And so I always introduce myself as Edna Jones Miller. 3 names, no hyphen. So that's how I introduce myself at work. And so the reason for that is that I proudly wear my name, Edna, for my mom, Jones for my dad, and Miller for my husband. Because I believe that I am a representation of the 3 of them, but they are 3 distinct characteristics that I bear very proudly. And so I always go by my full name. And so my mom has been, I can't even describe. I don't believe that there are words to describe the fullness of who she is. I don't know if you get that, but she is so multifaceted. It's almost like when you look at a diamond, and there are so many different facets of a diamond that just shine. And sometimes it looks like it's a bit of orange and a bit of blue and a bit of purple, and then it's whatever you need it to be. But it shines and it's radiant and it's so beautiful and it's one of a kind. And so Edna means to rejuvenate, and it means to invigorate, and it means to renew. And so I studied that and I was just like, wow. So when I was younger, I used to be ashamed of the name Edna. I was. Because immediately you think of an older white woman. But that actually works out for my good and my job. So when people see Dr. Edna Jones Miller, it's like, oh. And then when they meet me, oh, you're Edna. But I've already gained their respect based off of the perception they have. So I'll take that. So I used to be ashamed because everybody else had like the really cool names like the Ikas and the Ishas and all of that. And I wanted to be like that. But then I came to accept and acknowledge the greatness that comes with the name that means to renew, and it means to invigorate, and it means to excite and to spark and ignite. And that's exactly what she's done through this prayer ministry. I can see that she has invigorated. I can see in your eyes the spirit that she has lit on the inside of you to pray, to seek God, to really get on your face before the Lord, and to really find out what His will is for your life. And so I hope that I can leave with you today that you will continue to use that spark and use that invigoration, and you will allow that to spread. And she always uses this analogy of a dog, and how a dog will kind of sit on a couch and leave his hairs around and shed. Okay, so he will shed and leave traces of himself behind. And so hopefully that is what she has done for each of you in your lives, in your prayer lives, that she has left a bit of herself on you, and that you will begin to shed and spread that love abroad as well.
And I'm the long-winded one. It's me. Now, out of the 3 of us, I am the one, out of the 5 of us, I would say, 6 including Jabari, I am the only one, I think, the one that acts the most like her. Character, right? I'm the most like her. And, you know, growing up, when I was younger, my mama used to sew
for like everybody. You know, she made clothes, and she come out with the chicken wire, got a big chicken basket on the hat, and with the flowers and the paint and the this and the that, and you know, whatever. Y'all remember, okay. And so of all of the daughters, I was the only daughter that was willing to stay up all night and help mama paint the hats and glue the hats and do all the fashion fun, you know, things that we, you know, girls like to do. My sisters wasn't getting with that, were getting with none of that. But I remember my 12th grade year. I do not want to cry, so I'm not going to. Okay. My senior year of high school was a pivotal year for me, and I think it was when I found out how much like her I was and how much fight that I did not know that I had was there. And so we had an incident at our school, and my mama, you know, if anybody know Edna, honey, Edna is real pro-black, honey. She gonna go out there, honey. Every Martin Luther King holiday, we out there marching. Honey, yes, honey, we ain't overcame yet. Come on. Y'all get out there and you come on. And watching the eyes like this, you gotta go home and watch all 9 volumes of Eyes on the Prize. So we gotta sit there. Because my mom was a big, you are going to know your history. Because she's like, if you don't know where you come from, you're bound to repeat it. So you gonna sit, and every year, like clockwork, we would sit there. Emmett Till. We know the Eyes on the Prize, the dialogue by heart. Like we know it by heart by now. And so I had an issue my senior year of high school where it, you know, dealing with racial tension. You would think, when I graduated in the year 2000, that was 15 years ago, almost 16 years ago, a lot of racial tension going on in the school, and she pushed me and challenged me to stand up. When it, you know, and you the only black girl out here doing this, you're the only one, you're the only black girl in the committee, you're the only one got to stand up and take on the big ones, like the big dogs. And I remember crying. I remember I was in my room and I was so overwhelmed because I was just like, why? And you know, sometimes black folks turn on you too when they push you out there to fight. And I remember just bawling one day, and my mama came in my room and she put her arm around me. She said, "You can do this. You can do this. Look how strong you are." And I remember on the night of my prom, and I still have this program. I know she wrote it, but she signed her and my daddy's name to it. I know she wrote it. And this message, like, stayed. She said, "We never imagined that you would be the one to be this strong." And when my dad died, I was the only person with my mother that day. And I remember when we had gotten the news that, you know, that dad had died, and I remember looking at my mom through the window, and I couldn't get through the door because the door was locked. So I had to run around the building. I mean, I'm running like Flojo, trying to run to get to her because I saw the doctor through the window and I saw her hit the floor. Like so I'm running around, and I remember she was in the chair, and I think that was the longest scream I ever heard in my life, just long, long, long. And I remember sitting on her lap. I sat on her lap. And she just grabbed me. She just grabbed, and we just held on, and we just squeezed, and we just screamed, and both of us just sat there and we just screamed. And I walked her in there when they had my father, and she was saying her goodbyes. And I went home, and I got in the bed with her, and I slept on Daddy's side, and I think I would sleep on Daddy's side for weeks. I just slept on Daddy's side. But the very next day, she woke up. She woke up and called the prayer. And I was like, what are you doing? How do you do that? such shock and awe, but admiration of the strength that nothing stopped her from purpose that day. Nothing.